Good morning, everybody. Yes, I can see you guys are really anxious to get started. First of all, well done for being early and on time. We usually make an effort to begin our webinars, seminars, wherever we're going to be on time. This one is scheduled to start in the next 4 minutes at 11 a.m. And so it's really good to see all of you guys who've logged in so early. Pleasure to see you guys. I know there are a couple of people who have been asking. I can't hear Joy. I hope you can hear me now. If you can be able to hear, just give me a thumbs up. And that way we know that we're on the same page. But otherwise, I'm really excited to have you guys here. We'll be getting started in about 3 minutes now. So make sure you have your notebook and pen ready and a great attitude for the session that's about to begin. See you in a couple of minutes, guys. 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes now. All right, guys, it is now 11:01 East African time. Welcome to the Centonomy Campus Edition Cross Campus Hangout. Um, I'm telling you, this new normal is something that we have to get used to. We have to work around. One of my favorite memories of running this session is usually that time that you get to be with other people from various campuses. Especially around the East Africa. It's always been so much fun. But what's amazing is now that we're able to share with many people, not just in East Africa, but even around the world. I would like to know, just to make sure that we are all on the same page, kindly, if you don't mind, everyone on your chat box, and make sure that you select that you're going to be sharing with panelists and attendees. Just make sure you click that tab. And would love to know where you are around this world. The experiences that are going to be shared will be awesome, and I know that the questions will be relevant and be challenging to all of us. So if you don't mind, just type, and don't be very general. Wamaida, tell us where in Kenya. Kenya is a big place. Where in Kenya, or where in whichever country you are, just at least mention the city or the state that you're in, so that we know where you are. That would be great. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Excellent, excellent. So we've got some quite a few Kenyans that are here. We've got a couple of people out in, at least I saw Kigali, Rwanda. Welcome. I saw, where is this? I saw another country somewhere. I think I saw Mauritius somewhere. Where in Mauritius, Wendy? Hey, it would be great to know. Mauritius, I know, is a big place. Hey, some more Rwandese are in this place. Karibu, karibu sana, all the Kenyans from Embakasi all the way to Eldoret. I've seen you, Vital. I hope I got that right, of Vital. I hope so. Yeah, and Ian, thank you so much, all the way in Eldoret. Yeah, just let us know where you are in the world, so that as we share, we can make it as relevant as possible, so that we're working together. Thank you so much. And to all those who are joining in right now, I know you've been waiting. And you're jumping into the webinar at this point. Karibu, karibu sana. For those who do not speak Swahili, that just means welcome. I'm welcoming you and just saying we'd love to have you along on this journey with us. Wonderful. Hey, we've got Selma in Namibia. Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent. Yes, thank you so much, Steve. We've got quite a few of the Centonomy team working on this session as well, so they're keeping track of all the various places that we're on. I had forgotten, sorry, yeah, just for a couple of seconds, I'd forgotten. We've got some people watching on Facebook. How are you guys doing? Some guys on YouTube, how are you doing? And I think we're on Twitter as well. If you are on Twitter, thank you so much. So we've got someone, that's Selma from Namibian Windhoek. I hope I pronounced it right. Some of these names are a bit harder for us guys, you know, so forgiveness if in case I have not done well in terms of letting you know where pronouncing a name or a city that you're in. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to meet you all. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us here at Centonomy. My name is Waidaka Gatumia. I serve as the CEO here at Centonomy, but for this session today, I'm here to learn just like you are. My intention is to spend time learning from the wonderful guests that we've brought to be with us in this session, and to hear from you as well, just to pick up on some of the wonderful questions I know that you have. The thing I love about the campus edition is the type of questions that you get. They're always forward-looking. At Centonomy, we train across the board from teenagers to retirees. And one of the things that happens when you're dealing with older people, with retirees, people like your parents, your grandparents, is that they tend to look backwards a lot more. They've had a lot more experience, so they're looking back on a life, and they tend to tell more stories. But when we come into a session like this with campus students, the questions are always forward-looking. Where are we going? What are we trying to achieve? What can we begin to do so that we can get towards our goals? And that's what I love. And so I'm here to listen to you guys, as well as hopefully I'll share some insights with you as well later. But the idea is this: we must begin to learn for that growth that is going to come. Please do feel free to tweet and also to post on all the other platforms, Instagram, what else, Twitter, Facebook, if you are still on Facebook. If you are, I would be surprised. But any of those that you'd like to be doing so, and the hashtags are Centonomy Campus Edition, hashtag Making Boss Moves, and hashtag Wealth Creation. Would love to hear your ideas and your principles in that same space. So guys, we're here to learn together and to work together. You can write this down. I told you we're going to learn together right from the very beginning. At Centonomy, we teach on the issue of wealth creation. So you can write this down if you don't mind. First, actually, let me not get straight to writing. I want to hear from you. When you hear the word wealth, what comes to mind, guys? Type in the chat box. Wealth, what comes to mind? Wealth, what comes to mind, guys? In the chat box, to panelists and to attendees, when I said the word wealth, because that's what we do. We teach here at Centonomy about wealth creation. What came to mind? Freedom. Thank you so much. I love that. Shakina, wonderful. Money. Hey, hey, hey. I knew that one was coming. Comfort. I like that. Christine. Ian says comfort as well. Jean is thinking about financial freedom. Japheth is saying financial adequacy, which is interesting. Mumbe is saying impact. Ooh, Bill, I love your response. God, that's right. As a man of faith, I believe in that as well. But we also have to begin to break it down into something that we can learn. Sustainability. Listen to all these words that are coming through, and it's excellent. So let's talk about wealth. Thank you so much for your responses. At Centonomy, we teach about wealth creation, and we define wealth this way. Wealth, write it down, wealth is the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. Hey, hey. If there are any parents who are watching over your children as they're listening into this session, don't worry, I'm going to explain what I'm saying. I'm not talking about an easy life of gambling and you don't have to work. No, 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 no. I am saying wealth is the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. What does that mean? That you have, first of all, to define what you want. And one of the things that you're going to be hearing from the speakers who are coming into this room is that they began to define that. And look, it's not going to be a perfect picture from where you are to the future. No, but even from where you are, there's something that you want. There's some kind of lifestyle that you want. If I began to ask you the questions, if I was to give you $1 million, what would you begin to do? Some of you will say, I'll build a house. Some of you will say, I'll go on holiday. I'll buy a nice car. All those things are part of the things that you would want. And what we are trying to do at Centonomy is to get you to make it definite. Because many times we don't define what we want. So that even as we're planning to make those boss moves in what area? Have you even decided to make that boss move? Because sometimes I've seen it with so many interns who come and work with us, with so many in various organizations that I've worked in. An intern will come in or a new employee will come in and they have no idea what they want. There's no direction to their life. They don't have a purpose behind it. And so that move that they want to make, it's not defined. Like many of you have said financial freedom, but what does financial freedom mean to you? What does time and money mean to you? Because I've seen Joel has written that down, being content financially. A question I always ask Joy when you say is to be content financially is how much money will make you content? I know that sounds odd, but it is a fact. If you don't know what you're aiming for, then how do you know when you've achieved it? These are the issues that we're trying to deal with when it comes to the work that we're doing here at Centonomy, because people are not purposeful. And especially coming out of the life that we're talking about here, we're not purposeful in saying, I want these things. Now, the fact that you want them and you don't have them, that's a good thing. Why? Because it will force you to be creative. It'll force you to be thoughtful and have a strategic mindset, because that's really the work that we're doing here, is to be strategic about our wealth creation journey. It's to say, if I'm going to get a job, who are the people who are paid best when it comes to organizations? You know, it's senior management. So I need to build the skill set that will get me into that same space. If I'm starting a business, who are the people who make money? They're people who build viable businesses that can raise capital. And we'll be hearing from Tonee later on in a couple of minutes, where he was able to raise capital in millions of dollars. You see, people in this country seem to think that there is no capital in this world. I know Tonee is going to bring that up in a couple of minutes, but let me just burst your bubble to know that there is more capital than can be absorbed by the economy. I tell you, because we work with investment institutes like Horizon African, they talk about doing deals locally of $50 million and above. I mean, in Kenya and in East Africa. So if you're saying we do not have capital, the issue is not that there is no capital, it's because we have not been able to raise it or even to get noticed by those who have capital. So if you're going to make that boss move, you need to have that goal so that somebody else can see, if I invested in your goal, then we can be able to achieve that. So right now and over the next couple of weeks, because you have some time before I know you're going to register for the class. When we come into the class, we force you. I know that sounds like fun, but it's something that is necessary. We force you to be specific and say, this is what I want. Because when you say that, then we can work backwards to where you are and say, you know what, that's what you want. This is where you are. This is how we're going to get there. I'll give you an idea of what that means. I have heard many young people, I don't know how many are in the room. If you're there, you can say that's me, right? Young people in the room who say, you know what, I'd love to be a billionaire. You know what, a billionaire. So when I hear that, then I say, okay, great, that's wonderful, no problem. The only thing is, if you're trying to save, like, you know, put savings in a savings account to become a billionaire, you're wasting your time. Because it would take you 83 years of saving 1 million shillings every month in order to become a billionaire. Now, I don't know about you, but 83 years is too long for me. And number two, saving 1 million shillings every month. Million shillings about what, $10,000 every month? I don't think that we're there yet. So is that a good plan to save to become a billionaire? No. So what do you do if your goal is to become a billionaire? Then you work backwards and say, who are the people who are billionaires? What do they do? And the thing that you begin to realize is this, that most of them, if not all, are and have been entrepreneurs. Why? Because they start a business and they multiply their time and their energy and multiply it at such a rate that they're able to generate that wealth. So you'll find that most of them do not, in fact, I'm pretty sure there is none who is not at least an owner in the business. I think I was reading an article about Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, who's now finally a billionaire, but it's because he owns stock in Apple. And so as an owner in the business, that's what we're talking about. So if your goal is to become a billionaire, please stop saving. You're wasting your time. I didn't say stop saving forever. Save so that you have some cash for your life. However, you need to be investing and building the wealth that is required. Saving is important. It's part of what we're going to talk about in the class. But it's saving to have an emergency fund so that should things happen, you can draw from it. However, if it's the growth that you're looking for, then you need to start a business. Let's just be honest. However, you can build wealth. Now, listen to me, you can build significant wealth as an employee. If you're earning a good income and investing that income over time, I assure you, you can build great wealth as well. So this is the thing. It's about being clear. What is it that I want? Work backwards to where you are and say, this is my strategy moving forward. And that's what we do for you here at Centonomy to help you make those boss moves. And you can, listen, guys, we have to, as Africans, begin to be purposeful with what we are doing. Young people, let me just tell you this, and I have the ability to say young people because I am now past official youth stage in my life. I can say this, there is no difference between you and those young guys in Silicon Valley in the US who are developing that next app or that next business model that's gonna change the world. You have the same mind, you probably have the same resources. Now you have access to the internet, you have a laptop that's in front of you. What's stopping you? We're going to hear from some amazing people today. I just want to know from my team. I can see Tonee is here. And I'm just really excited because when I get to hear the stories, let me tell you, you need to be around purposeful people because it changes the way that you act. It changes the way that you think. It changes the way that you live your life. And I'm telling you, this is the place to be. The next couple of minutes, I want you to be on the mark and listening carefully to what we're going to do. Tonee Ndungu, how are you doing, my brother? I hope you can get on screen. You can switch on your camera and your microphone. He's the CEO of Kytabu. Are we there? I think
I am here, but my video is off. Give me power, bro. Give me power.
I'm trying. I wish I was the host. I know there's a host who's about to help you with that. As we're doing that, I know we'll be able to see you in a couple of minutes. I just wanted to say, you guys know him from Kytabu, but what you don't know is the work behind it and also the Nai Lab as well. Just to understand, remember I mentioned that there is more capital in this world than you can believe. Just listen to this. At Nai Lab, it went on to become one of the largest ICT incubators in Kenya, where they've managed to raise over 5 million euros. And that was before he was 30. Don't you have to tell us about that story, including a $1 million partnership with the World Bank. Listen, if you build a company that is valued at more than $5.6 million, come on, we are talking about this and offering education to the whole country. This is the kind of thing that we're talking about for young people. What is it that is stopping you? Not only that, but having overcome a learning disability. I hope you don't mind if I call it that, Tonee, because that's what it is. Sounds to me when you think about something about dyslexia, it's a learning disability. So you have to be able to adjust along the way. So guys, these stories are real. I want you to listen and to pay close attention as we get there. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It's amazing to have you as part of the panel for today. Tell us your story. That's what guys are here to listen to. They want to hear your story and how you've gotten to where you are and made the boss moves that are there. Thank you so much for your time. And I love the background. It's beautiful.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Welcome to my home, everyone.
Excuse my wardrobe.
Welcome, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you to all you guys. Vedaka, thank you so much for having me. I'm at home, so my kids may show up and say what's up. They may come and play around. I apologize. It's a work from home culture. But I want to give big shout out to all your, I believe now it's 180 people watching this.
It is. That's just here on Zoom. So we've got guys on Facebook, YouTube. Yeah.
Shout out to the Facebookers and the YouTube types. Over the next 40 minutes, my goal is to be honest with you, to tell you what you need to know, and to make it very actionable. So when we are done with this, I want you to be able to say, on Monday, I know exactly what I'm going to do to make my boss move. So Vedaka, I think that's what you called me for. Big shout out to you. Centonomy has been doing amazing work. You and I need to talk on a personal level because we want to see how we can take a lot of the content you create and make it digital for young folk like the ones who are watching this. And I have a little gift for you at the end of this that I think Centonomy is going to appreciate from Kytabu. We've been working at this in the background. I thought the first time you reached out to us, I was like, we need to give them a gift for the work that they've been doing. So I'm gonna tell you what that is at around noon. But it's now 11:20, and I'm gonna get right into it and say a couple of things. The first thing I'm gonna say is this: I want everybody listening or watching this to grab a pen and paper, and for the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna tell you some of the biggest secrets that I have, that I was fortunate to be mentored to learn, that have helped me get to where I'm going. So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna count. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to get your notepads and pens and papers, and I'm going to sip some water, and then we're going to start. So it's 10, 20, so it's 20 seconds. 19, 18, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, wait, there's an 11, 11, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so here we go. I've given you 20 seconds to get a notepad and a pen. And this is what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to write this down on a piece of paper at the very top. I want you to write vista, spelled V-I-S-T-A, vista. Crystallize it. V is your vision, at the very bottom right, vision. Now, vision is very clear. A vision is not what you see with your eyes, it's what you perceive in your person. It's not what you see with your eyes, it's what you perceive in your person. I have my wallet downstairs. I was actually showing my cousin who's sitting over here right next to me. And in my wallet, there's a $10 million check I've written to myself. I've said to myself, I am going to give myself $1 billion shillings at the end of a certain period of time for the work that I do and the effort that I make. That's vision. I've printed it out. It's an actual physical check that I've put in my wallet. Why do I do that? Well, it's easier for your mind and your person to follow through on something that you visualize. A very practical example is if you see a young man who likes a car, chances are that car is his screensaver, that car is on his phone, he has got a magazine cut out, it's on Insta, it's on Facebook, it's somewhere. There's a visual representation. And you see a young lady who's trying to do something with herself, whether it's physically or professionally or personally, she's got something that is designed for her to look at. You need something you can stare at every morning. In my bedroom over here, I've got a vision board. It's basically a board that's about 5 feet by 3 feet. I've mulikad it on the wall, drilled it in, and every year I stick pictures of things I would like to do, I'd like to see, I'd like to try out, I'd like to visit, put it on the picture. Every year I've put down at least half the pictures I've put up because I've either got what I wanted or gone where I've wanted or become what I've wanted. Practical example, I'm 41 and I always wanted to be a healthy 41-year-old. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 in the morning, I'm at the gym because I've put an image over there of Idris Elba. We're about the same age, the same height, the same build, and I want to look like he used to look like 10 years ago. That's the vision I have for my physical well-being. House-wise, I know the kind of house I want to have. So found it online, Pinterest, printed it out on a computer and a nice little photograph, hang it over there. Whatever you want to achieve, it needs to be visual for you to be able to see it every morning, whether it's in a little journal or a notepad, hang it on the wall. Hang it on the wall. Make sure you see it, whether it's in your mirror, it's in a book, make sure it's visible to you. That's V, vision. It needs to be clear. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? The purpose you have for yourself. You need to make sure it's short. Don't write a paragraph, it's one sentence. I is the next one. Remember Vista, V-I-S-T-A, I. Inventory. What do you have? What can help you? I've got 3 things that I really like about my personality. Number 1, I am 6'4", which means that I am tall. That's great. Number 2, I am black, which is fantastic. I'm an African man, I like it, it's very nice. And number 3, I love reading. So because I love reading and watching things on TV and all of that, I'm well informed about things going on around my world, which means I can be able to create good relationships with people I know and good relationships with people I don't know. Inventory number 1, you must learn how to influence. You must learn how to do it in some way, shape, or form. Influence is the baseline for those who matter and those who do not. There are those who are influenced and those who are influenced. You want to be on the influence side. You have to figure out how to be on the influence side. The best ways to be on the influence side is either have something people need, be something people need, or create something people need. All right? Baseline. Elon Musk is the richest person in the world because he's built something people need. Electric cars, Tesla, the works. Bill Gates, among the richest people in the world because he's people need. Now you don't know him, but David Dewey is one of the richest people in the world because he built something that we need. What? Zoom. You don't even need to know his name. All you need to use is his tools. Build something people need or be something people need. Very many examples. Whether you want to do musicians or you want to do presidents or you want to do writers, or you want to do poets or you want to do hip hop artists or you want to do content creators or you want to do politicians, it doesn't matter. When you are something people need, you are a person of influence. And then the next one, which I think is really, really important. So remember, be something people need, build something people need, or have something people need. So when you have something people need, I'm here because, hey, my man, Maidaka said, Tonee, come through because I have something people need. I'm cool with that. And then I come and I have some influence. You guys are taking notes because of something I'm saying. That's how influence works. That's number 1. Remember, this is inside your inventory, influence. Number 2, networks. Now, your net worth is 100% dependent on your network. Yeah? It's the people you know that matter. It's not who you are, it's the people you know. How do you build a network? It goes back to influence and exposure. Make sure you hang around with the right kind of folk, okay? If you're hanging around with the wrong kind of folk, chances are you're gonna be like those guys, okay? Be with the people you wanna be like, okay? It's so simple. Your parents told it to you, I'm telling to you again. Be with the people you wanna be like, okay? Learn from the people you wanna be like. Read some biographies. If you wanna be a journalist, go and look at Christiana Mampo's blog. Follow Larry Mado on Twitter or Instagram. If you want to be an actress, what is Lupita Nyong'o doing? Find out what Hollywood looks like. Get to Mugambi Thiga and talk to him. If you want to be an influencer, find out how you can be able to follow Patricia Kihoro. Ask her to write a blog post about how she does it. Even try and get an interview with her if it's possible, just for you to learn from it. If you're a business person, if you want to open up a Centonomy of your own, whatever you want to do, talk to the people who've done it, okay? Network. The last one, resources. Resources is not money. I need you to understand this. Huh? Most of the time, the people who have money don't know what to do with it. It's the people who have ideas and don't have money who know what to do with it. The problem is those who have money and those who have ideas never meet. Your job is to make sure you meet the people who have the money, because they're not going to come looking for you. They already have the money, right? So it's important for you to understand that you need to be able to create a resource people need. So many examples. This morning when you get up, write a list of all the things you did. You used a toothbrush, toothpaste, use soap, use the towel. You probably slept in a mattress by like Bob Mill. Like, you've done things. And now when you've done things, the things that you're using, somebody created those things. See, that's a resource. So you build 5 or 6 of them, get somebody some cash and say, hey, if you do some money things, I can grow this business. Coca-Cola was started by a chemist. The guy didn't know what he built, so he sold it for the price of 1 Coca-Cola bottle today. The value of the Coca-Cola brand is still bigger than the value of the Apple brand. Why? Because Coke is huge, and only 2 people know what that secret that chemist knew in the 50s today exists. Because they understand the value of that resource. It's in your head. It's not in the world, it's in your head. Understand that. You are the resource. So remember, inventory. What is your influence? What is your network? What's your resource? Once you have those 3, they start becoming a vicious cycle. Your influence increases your networks increases your resources increases your influence, which increases your network, which increases your resources. It goes round. It can even go backwards. Your influence increases your resources increases your network increases your influence. I had breakfast with Larry Page at his house. His wife made me breakfast. Larry Page owns Google. Because I had network at his house, I said, I need to meet so-and-so. He said, hang on, let me send him a text. Then I went and met the person. There's no one in this world I cannot meet because of the use of the network influence resource plan. 4 kings, 4 presidents. That's how many guys I've met. I've been in Obama's White House twice. So there's a lot of things that you can do because you know not how much money you have in your pocket, but how much of a resource you are to other people. Now, V, I. So let's do S. S is strategy. This is where people fail, right? So let me explain that to you. Strategy is a fancy word of saying, where am I going to start, all right? A lot of people, when you get into a race with them, let's say I go outside and I tell my friend, let's run. The first thing the guy does is, sour, let's go. But he hasn't thought about, is he wearing the right shoes? Yeah? Is the ground gravel, soil, mud, sand? He hasn't thought about the infrastructure. Does he have the right information and education? He hasn't thought about the strategy, what needs to be done for things to happen. If you don't have a plan, you're essentially just looking to fail, right? There's a saying that says, those who fail to plan, plan to fail. It is true. What is your plan? And don't just make it in your head with the little information you have. That's terrible. Find somebody who knows more than you and be like, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? This is where mentors become important. A strategy is how am I going to get this done? Once you have that and you get better people to keep improving your plan, you start seeing people coming to help you out to win. I have received more money from people who have asked for advice than for cash. When you tell a guy, I need some help with this because I have a plan, like things are looking a bit rough, the guy is going to come and be like, let me help you out. And then when he gives you ideas, he's like, look, here's some money to be able to make it work. The last time I had a conversation like that, the guy gave me $150,000. That's 15 million shillings. Why? Because I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to buy a car. I'm not going to try and look fancy for you. I don't know you. I'm going to put money in my business. And then what happens to my business? We're on CNN. I send the guy the link. I'm like, you made this happen. He's like, how much more do you need? Because this is dope. I'm like, you see, this is exactly how businesses work. Yeah. Don't try to do things quickly. Don't try to make yourself look good in front of your friends. Don't try to buy expensive vehicles and a big smartphone. No need. I think this is like iPhone 11 or something. He gave me this one. He's like, this might be useful. He's like, your computer might crash. I'm going to get you a nice thin HP because it might be nice. Fancy things, man. Why? Because he understands that I am the resource. These things are just nice to have. But if Tonee doesn't have what he needs to have, Tonee can't do the magic that he does. Strategy. Talk to people who can help you to create a plan for yourself. S. T, tactics. Tactics is, if you've ever played a sport in high school, the tactic, if it was basketball, for example, is how you're going to score the basket. You look, you're 5 guys in a basketball team. There are 5 guys on this side, 5 guys on that side, or 5 girls on this side, 5 girls on that side. And everybody has a responsibility. They're the point guards, the forwards, and the center. The center is usually the tallest, strongest person, and that's the #1 defender, but they don't score very much. It's the point guards and the forwards who score a lot. So if you're ever in a game, you always look and think, what does my team want to do, and what's my tactic to passing through them? If the team is very tall, strong people, the point guard at the outside is the guy who shoots the basket from a distance, because those are 3-point shots, and because it's far, the guys can't jump and catch the ball. But if it's a small team, you're dunking on them all the time. That's the NBA, that's basketball, that's how it works. In rugby, you always look for the biggest and or fastest guy. In netball, you look for the girl who's got the fastest way through. In tennis, you find the strongest but short person, and that means that the stronger person can be able to run across the court faster because the tall person cannot. That's a tactic. In your mind, how are you going to get your plan to actually start working? So you break it down into to-do lists. If I'm going to start an edtech company, I need to have people who understand edtech. I need to understand the market. I need to talk to the Ministry of Education. I need to talk to KICD. I need to talk to high schools and primary schools that have got a lot of money. So start with the McKinneys and the St. Nicolases and the bigger schools before you go to the Milimanis and middle income schools. And then before you go to Maruri, which is in slum areas. Always know what your tactics are. How are you going to do it? Who's the first person you're going to call on Monday for your plan? That's a tactic, right? Who's the first person who you think is going to be your best bet? Where can you get advice from? Who's the person who's going to be like, I like what you're doing. I want to partner with you. Who's going to be like, this is a benefit to me? That's a tactic. Those are phone numbers. It's not assumptions. Those are people's names. When you're done here, you need a list of at least 30 people you call on Monday for the plan that you created before called the strategy. Remember I said you need people to help you with advice? Get that list of 30 people, no less, because most of them will say no. If you get 3 people out of the 30, that's brilliant. That's more than enough. That's how you start, okay? So that's what tactics are. Things you write down to do. And then you always assess them on Sunday night. So on Monday morning, you know what you're doing. Every Sunday, I do my tactics. Every single Sunday for 10 years, I've done my tactics. What am I doing on tomorrow on Monday? So Monday doesn't hit me with shock. I never wake up on Monday after the sun has risen unless I am sick. Never, or when I'm on holiday. That's it. Every Monday, by the time the sun is rising at 6:45 or 6:15, I'm up. Why? Gym. So when the day comes, I'm ready for it. The day doesn't find me asleep. I find the day. That's how you do tactics. You have to be before it. Early bird catches the worm. There's so many sayings. You have to be the first person on the game floor for you to win. That's what tactics are. The last thing in Vista, action plan. So we've talked about what you're supposed to do. We've said vision is putting something in front of your face. We've said inventory is you learning how to network, influence, and get resources. We've said strategy is you being able to know the plan. And the plan is something you get people to advise you on. Just come up with the plan and say, I'm going to be an influencer, and then you think you're good. No, the plan is what it is you want to do. Focus what the plan is. That is what you want to do. Then tactics is figuring out who are the people going to help you with the plan. I said just now, get 30 names. I want to see 30 names. Okay, I'm not going to be there, but show me, show yourself 30 names. Do yourself the favor of having the 30 names. Action plan is taking those 30 names between Monday, 9 o'clock and Friday, 5 o'clock next week, calling every single one of those 30 names. That basically is how you get things done. Doesn't matter what you're doing it for. If one person says, oh, let's do a business and I'm going to put some money in, you go back to Vista. What's my vision for this business? What is my inventory for this business? What's the strategy I have for this business? Where the tactics are for this business, and what's the action plan for the business? Boom. That is how you make things work. And so there's always going to be challenges. This is the thing I want you to understand. Life is not a coasty thing. I've had problems. We have been auctioned. I've been in trouble with the law. I've not paid my taxes at some point. We've run out of money and not been able to pay staff members. And all of those things have happened. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But the thing is, when you have a plan, even your people who you haven't paid for 2 months are confident in you. They're like, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy's not confused. He has a plan. He's focused. He's doing his thing. So I can trust him. Then it goes back again to the influence, network, and resources. When it comes down to nothing, when you have nothing left, you have your influence. Because that's not something you need money to do. You just need to talk to somebody. Be like, yo, I know I haven't paid you yet, but I have you. I'll take care of you, man. Just be calm. I know it's late. You and I know money comes and goes. But you know I've paid you before. Just be chill. I'm going to take care of it. And what that does for you is it allows you the opportunity to be able to know, hey, I've got people around me I can count on. And that says a lot to you about you. I'm a trustworthy person. I'm not going to screw you. I'm going to treat you well. When things work for me, things are going to work for you. And so that's what you want. And in the business, same story. You keep using Vista over and over. And I guarantee you, and it says in the Bible, life and chance happens to them all. Everyone here is going to have 1, 2, or 3 shots at making more money than you've ever dreamed of. The question is, will you be prepared and will you be available? Those are the 2 questions. Will you be prepared and will you be available? Because when the opportunity comes, a lot of people could be available, but they're not prepared. Or when the opportunity comes, you are prepared, but because you are not looking out, you're not available, and the opportunity passes you by. I've done a very nice 17 minutes. Ask me questions, man.
Wow, wow, wow. Amazing as I expected. I mean, this is what we needed to hear. Vista. Wow. And thank you so much, Tonee, because I was waiting and you know, sometimes you can expect the same things to come across all the time. This business called hard work. No, you gave us the way to do the work. Thank you so much for doing that. So guys, yeah, if you have questions, I encourage you, especially if you're on the Zoom platform, please do use the Q&A session that you have there. Please just put in your question on that side. I know I've seen a couple coming on YouTube as well. And I know some guys, thank you so much for all those on YouTube. Thank you. I can see you guys there. Thank you, everybody on Facebook. I saw a question that had come here on the issue of, what is it? It was managing people. How do you get the right people to be on the team with you? You seem to have, well, you seem quite excited by the guys who you're working with, and they seem to trust you even when you don't pay them. So how is it? Tell me, how do you get the right people on the boat with you?
Hire slowly, fire fast. All right. So I'll tell you 2 things. People are strange.
You have to speak slower than that. Slower. Say that one more time. Hire what?
Hire slowly, fire fast. Look, people are people. Huh? I will always bring my best foot forward. And whenever I hire someone, I'll be like, let's sit down and have a conversation about where you want to be in 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years. And can I take you there? And if I can't take you there, I'll tell you, sir, hang out with me for a year or 2, give me your skill. I will push you as far as I can, and I'll use my network, influence, and resources to give you something or point you in a direction or something. But as far as I'm concerned, being able to build a good relationship with someone is important. Now, even when you fall out with people, and you're going to fall out with people, yeah. The part that matters is don't fall out with people and carry that weight, all right? Don't carry the weight. Be clear with them, tell them, yo, me and you did not rhyme, we didn't gel, but I have nothing against you, it's not personal. No one can have everybody as a friend. So be honest about it, but then tell them, but professionally, as long as you didn't treat me poorly, I'm not going to treat you poorly. And even if you did, I'll just avoid you. Just because you've forgiven somebody doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. That's something I need to say that again. Just because you have forgiven someone doesn't mean you are friends or you have to hang out with them. Yeah, forgive people, but if people are rubbish, trash them. You're young folk. I'm 41. I've been here a minute. I can tell you for sure, you don't need everybody you have in your life right now. And sometimes including family members. Be careful. Those are some of the ones who break you down the most. So my point to answer your question is build good relationships with people. And life is such that people will come into your lives. Sometimes they will not be amazing, but they will do a decent job with you. And if nothing works, I guarantee you, you'll always be able to tell them koheri, but move forward with something good. Yeah, find good people. And reputation is something that you can't buy. Yeah. So the same way that Kytabu is known everywhere as the clean, straightforward, single shot Centonomy CEO. You know for a fact he didn't buy that rep. He built it block by block. So build your reputation block by block.
Hey. Thank you so much for that. There's someone asking, Samora, you are saying you need this as a recording. Don't worry, it will be available on all our social media. So check out Centonomy on YouTube after this. On Facebook, you'll be able to get this whole session on that. Here's another quick question. Give me one mistake. This is Stephanie. One mistake you wish you had avoided on your journey towards business growth.
There's absolutely no mistake I wish I avoided. I love all the mistakes I made. Listen, let me explain something to you. Failure is a process of success. Success is not the opposite of failure. Failure is the process of success. The mistakes I made, because I know I walked into them with clear intention. Yeah, because I know I walked with them. If you walk into something with bad intention, you're punching yourself in the face. That's different. I usually don't do that. I don't think I've done that. But every time I've walked into a poor situation, because I made the best decision and that was the situation I had, I took it as a learning experience. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is not working. This is unfortunate. I wish it was different, but I came here with a clean heart. And I've learned more from my mistakes than my successes guarantee you. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If you get an A in high school, you are better placed to fail in life than a person who got a C. Let me explain to you why. A kid who gets an A in high school, chances are you've been passing through high school most of the time. And so because you're not really accustomed to failing, and that's the problem you have, when you get out into the world and you realize your A is not good enough for the world, because nobody in the streets cares about that A. What people care about is, do you have something to offer me? Can you make my business better? Can you make my brand better? Can you build me up to be more? Everybody wants to know, how much of a resource are you to me? And that's the challenge with being successful in one thing and not trying out something different. If you are an A student in class and you come to the streets and the streets are tough, you won't know what it is to pick yourself up, to encourage yourself when nobody is there for you, and to grow. But if you got a C and you know the streets will be tough because you got a C, you're going to come out with an attitude and be like, you know, it doesn't matter what you throw at me, I am going to win. It's the attitude that matters, not the grade. Now, that's not to say that A students are failures, not at all. I'm just saying, be careful when you think you have something, because that's the disadvantage. I have a sticker on my dining room office. It says, rock bottom has built more heroes than privilege. Whenever you think you're good at something, stop. I say it again, rock bottom has built more heroes than privilege. So being in the dumps has done better for more guys. Actually, what when it's done, I know, Dandora, Donholm, even the South B, South C type. A lot of these guys you're seeing around the streets who are doing phenomenal work, they came from places that you didn't expect. Why? Because they know how it's like to not have. All right? You need to teach yourself how it's like to not have. Once you understand that, you'll understand how to work hard for things. And I've shown you exactly how working hard looks like. Yeah? So mistakes are not a bad thing. Mistakes are opportunity for you to learn and grow. So own them, love them, put them as a badge on your chest. That's how you know you're winning. When you fail, and you're able to pick yourself up and move forward.
Wow, wow. This question always comes up for every entrepreneur. How much money did you use to start your business?
Nothing. I didn't use any money. I just came up with an idea. I told the guy, hey, can you create for me a video about how much is it going to cost 40 G's? You just create it. I'll find the money for you. You know, I just create the video. The guy created the video. He finished it on like a Tuesday. Then some other guy who was like, I like the way you speak, invited me to go to a fundraising event. I played the video on the big screen in front of 1,800 people, and I walked away with 13 million shillings. Look, I keep saying, and I'll say it to you again and again and again, you don't need money to start a business. You need to have influence, you need to have networks and the resources to bring themselves. Oh, you think, I know what you think. I see you there thinking, saying, I want to sell watches. I cannot use the influence, the network to buy watches. Go to Eastleigh, and there's a guy there called Mohammed Abdi. Go to him. He sells watches for 3.5. Very nice ones. They're fake, but they're nice. Ask Mohammed to allow you to sit at his shop for 3 days and watch how he sells them. Because what are you building? First, you're building trust. Do that for 2-3 weeks. Let this guy be able to know this guy is legit. And tell Mohammed, you know me, I'm a girl too. Give me this one watch. Let me try and go down the street and sell it to somebody. But give it to me in a box. Mohammed is, it might, you know, and Somalis, by the time they trust you, that stuff. He's like, okay, cool. So here's the watch, take it. You go over there down, you sell it to bring him back 3.5. You give him all the money. Don't even want to catch, tell him here. So then you sit there for another 2 days. You go home, you come back. Then you tell him, I want four watches. I think I can sell 4 of them. Mohammed will give you the 4 watches. Like you sold the others here, take, go with them. You go, you sell them for 3.5. Again, you come back with 14 G's. Don't take the money. Give it to him. Tell him, Abdi, here's your 14 G's. Sit over there and hang out with him for a bit. What are you building? The most important currency in finance is not finance. It's trust. I'll say that slowly because I know everybody. The most important currency in finance is not finance.
Yeah.
It's trust.
Yep.
If you can build trust with anyone, you will win. Stop trying to increase the size of your financial wealth. Start trying to increase the size of your trust wealth. People trust me. It's very hard to explain to you how important that is. If somebody trusts you, even when you do a crazy thing, they know you. They're like, wow, wait and see. Something is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what you need to learn. So once you've understood that, then you stop saying money is the most important thing. I've told you about Mohammed Abdi. He's in Misiri. Go find him. That's how you build things. You start by finding people you trust, building the trust relationship. It could take you 2 years. But in that 2 years of waiting, you could end up with 100 million shillings to start your manufacturing plant because you hang around the people with it and they trust you. Other than somebody who tries to do the business with 100 G's, goes broke, gets depressed, doesn't do it, then starts again a year later. Build your trust wallet. That's what matters.
You know, guys don't want to go through that process. And we talk about it a lot in the campus edition. It's about value. And people value trust. And I think that's the thing. They're willing to, if they trust you, they'll give you the money. But if you don't have that trust, they're not going to give you that money. But you'll be surprised how much money people can give you if there's trust involved, if they can see the value that you talked about earlier. Let's take another question here. It says, this one is, what happens if you have too many things that you want to achieve and you're pretty confused about it? I know this question comes up a lot when we're dealing with young people. I have so many dreams. I want to do everything. How did you focus your dream?
Pick one. This is going to sound stupid. I know it's complicated. Eh? 1 second. Yeah? Nani? Mami nitamrudishia. Nitamchapilia sai. Mami niko Zoom call nitampigia sai. Sorry guys, I told you there was going to be drama. Everyone, I want you to meet my little boy. He's chilling. My little cousin. He's very shy. Say hi to him.
Hi.
Okay, sit over there. Let me finish.
How you doing?
Okay, so knives cut sharp. Knives cut only when they're sharp.
Yeah.
Okay. Young folk aren't to tell you something and I want you to understand. You've got an advantage that myself, or that kind of couple of people don't have. You're young. You have some time. Yeah? Don't rush things. Do one thing, do it well. Knives cut sharp and cut clean when they're sharp. Knives cut clean when they're sharp. Do one thing, spend all your effort in that one thing, and then see how it works. Let me give you a practical example of how this matches. Life is like a swimming pool and you're trying to dive into it, right? The best way to dive into a swimming pool is hands first or legs first. Have you ever had a belly flop? Chapas you everywhere. It hurts. Why? Because you are trying to get all of you inside the pool at the same time. It's the same thing. If you have 10 things you want to do, write all 10 of them down. I want to do music, I want to be an influencer, I want to own a business, I want to do a fashion store, I want to do a fashion show, I want to write them all down, then give each of them a week of the month. Be like, it's now Feb, I think like Feb the 6th, Nini's, yeah. Between Monday and Friday, I'm gonna focus on the music thing. Then between next Monday, I'm gonna focus on something else. What's gonna happen is when you win at one thing, you're gonna find that thing leveraging off the other things. A practical example, a lot of the people you know as musicians, whether it's Rihanna or Drake or people who do arts, I'm trying to get people that you know, The Rock, for example, they started with one thing. Let's use The Rock, for example. He started with one thing. He was a phenomenal wrestler. People liked him. Then he got from there and did music. You guys don't know that, but he did some music. He tried to get into a music group. Didn't work. His voice, yeah, no. Then he got into a movie though. The movie thing was dope. So he cut the movies. And then it took him a while. People don't know this, but he's been doing movies for like 15 years. He got into the movie scene, he started growing, he became huge. And then he started doing his tequila. I don't know if you guys know, but he's got tequila. And he's selling his tequila. If you look at, this guy's a bit old school, guys might or might not know him, but then he's like a big deal in my time. It's called George Clooney. George Clooney, huge actor, fantastic chap. And what he did was he went and he bought in Mexico a rum. They sold it 3 years ago for $1 billion. Yeah, why? Because acting, you're just not gonna make that kind of money. You get like a $20 million check here, $5 million. So let's bring it to Kenya. What can you do here in Kenya? So let's talk about that in Kenya. So let's take the example of some guys who do farming. Yeah, I'm a farmer. I have 7 acres. My pal over there has 12. Another guy over there has 9. Another guy has 15. And all of us are looking for markets somewhere. I'm like, dude, see, if we combine our farms and we do some technology, see, maybe we can see if we can also help other farmers. I'm talking about Peter Njonjo, the guy who runs Trigger Foods. Sold his house to do it. He got 3 billion shillings from JP Morgan Chase, which is a bank in New York. Let's think of another problem. I have a Buddha guy, and my Buddha guy is always in trouble because he's always on the phone as he's riding his Buddha trying to pick a guy up. Meaning, why don't you create an app for guys like my Buddha guy? His name is Ricky. He's from Uganda. He's the guy who owns Safe Border. Literally every single thing you use, I need to get a cab. But I'm in the house and I don't want to go outside and start streaming for cabs. And my cab guy is quite expensive. What if you put them all on an app? Kalani, Uber was created. Solve your problem and you realize that a lot of people have the same problem you do. That's
Tonee, let me tell you, you answered the next question even without knowing it, because Catherine was talking about, technology businesses are really good for returns. Okay, I don't know about that. But she's saying, people like in farming, transport, what can they do to make them lucrative? It's to look at what are lucrative businesses in those spaces, just like what you said. Where is the money? How do you can't make a lot of money from a quarter acre somewhere. Look at the farms that are actually working. And as you said, great examples like Trigger Foods, who raised funds, and they raised funds locally first, by the way. Before they hit JP Morgan, they raised funds locally to get that idea moving. They convinced a couple of people, what you talked about earlier on with the issue of influence within the space that they had. Their network was able to allow them to start. And once they got their business into a certain level, then the money will come. But you have to do that. You have to do that work. That's really amazing.
Waithaka, can I run through some of these answers really quickly, because I see that quick. Okay.
Just jump
at your age, to get the mentors or the clique of people like you I have is hard. Is there a way? Joel Koyo says that. Young man, stop looking for human beings. Go to YouTube. Find mentors on YouTube. There's so many people who put up stuff on YouTube. Follow them. Get podcasts, my friend. You don't need actual humans. You can be able to do this without humans. So podcasts, YouTubes are your answer for you and for everyone else. What then was your favorite mistake? It's from Lisa. My favorite mistake was making the first mistake, because it taught me to be like, Tonee, if you keep being hard on yourself, when you make a mistake, you're going to fail. And I started loving myself irrespective of a mistake. So my favorite mistake was my first one that got me to learn. I will make more mistakes. Get used to it and learn from them. Eric says, destiny lets you say, let's say you have a vision, you have ideas, but you can't find a better team to push it up. Advice on that. Keep looking for more people. As I said, hire slowly, fire fast. Look for more vision. It's like Mchele, like, Ndungu. You're frying the Ndungu that you can eat. There'll be a lot of chafu in the Ndungu. There's no doubt. You just tarnish it. Then you're just left with what you can eat. That's what happens with teams. You keep looking until you find. You don't stop. You don't give up. At some point, you'll find the person that's going to make up for all the people you didn't like. How do I grow my brand? I don't know what your brand is, but I can guarantee you, Christine, go online. There's people who can teach you how to do it. On YouTube. It's free. Just learn. Teach yourself. Those are the kind of questions you can answer for yourself, my dear. Karoko, hello. How do you get to meet up with great people? Do you have an idea, but how do you make them trust you? So meeting up with great people is a matter of you being of value to them. So the question you should ask is not, how do I get to meet people of value? It's how do I become a person of value for other people? All right. So that's the first one. The second one, how do you create trust? Well, number one, keep your word. And number two, it takes time. So just like a relationship with a guy or a girl, it takes time. You like each other, you're cool. The first day you don't put a kiss on the cheeks. That's disrespectful. Don't kiss the person. Be like, shake hands, be like, cool, see you next week. Don't even call them the next day, call them the day after that. You build a relationship. 2 months later, this is my guy, this is my chick, whatever. You're building it the same way. That's what really matters. Take your time. How old were you when you realized that you wanted to, I did not realize what I wanted to do. I'm not sure. Me, I'm just doing the thing I'm doing and I'm doing it well. So you don't have to have those big answers of I know everything. I have tried different things and I keep leaving things incomplete because of a lack of interest. Then the most important, and this I used to have that. The thing you need to learn to do, and this is very important for people who don't finish, is know you don't finish and find somebody who can teach you how to finish. I was that guy. I'd do 9 things and not finish them. Then I got somebody and he's like 10 years younger than me. And he said, bro, I want to go to the gym. But me, I have a thing of, I pay for the gym and then I go twice a week. I go twice a month. He's like, okay, so we go together. And every morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have a phone call at 5 to wake each other up. And we call each other.
Hey, Tonee, you still there? We're missing you at the moment. I hope we are still together. If you can hear us, I'll just be waiting for you here as we get back online, as we get to those questions. Yeah, that's the kind of energy that you need. And I hope people have begun to notice that that's exactly what we've been talking about. Yeah, as soon as you get back on, we'll be able to get there. Thank you so much to everybody who's been sending in those questions. Wow. There we go. Thank you so much to everybody who's been sending in those questions. It's really good to to hear from you. And I told you we're going to learn from each other. The questions have made it so much better, even as we've gone along this. It tends to happen sometimes when we're on a session like this. I wanted to let you guys know a little bit more about the program that we run here at Centonomy, which is part of this journey of growth that you're going to be doing. We honestly believe that if you can learn these principles as early as possible, exactly what Tonee has been talking about over the last couple of minutes, it makes a huge difference. First of all, just how do you manage your cash? If you don't know how to do that, please, as he said, don't expect to know everything yourself. Learn from others. We've been doing this for over 12 years, teaching people how to manage their money. Come in, we'll teach you how to manage your money so that you have a different perspective on it. Help you to plan when it comes to issues like time value of money and debt. And I'll show you an example of that later on during this session, because people get into debt to buy their first car and have no idea the cost that they're getting themselves into. So learn something that will help you there. Get into the understanding of the saving and investment strategy that you're going to be in, and then build those entrepreneurial skills that Tonee has been dealing with and teaching us over the last couple of minutes. And finally, listen, let's be honest, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and every entrepreneur needs employees, and you can make a lot of wealth through employment as well. So if you're thinking it's your career path that's going to get you there, please, that's also part of it. We speak about the idea of intrapreneurship, which means that when you're working in a business, you're part of the solution that the entrepreneur is looking for. You're not just there to be a cog in the machine. You're adding value where you go. And then we do mentorship just like what we're doing just now. So this is a great time for you to begin to think through how is it that we can be able to get ourselves into that right environment. And we're presenting to you the Centonomy Campus Edition, which is a great place for that transformation. Tonee, sorry, we lost you for a couple of minutes, but that's okay. Thank you for getting back on. We have just 2 more minutes and we can then end that session.
Yes, I want to just say, sorry, Kenya Power came and did its thing. I just want to say,
tell me about it.
I think, so there's a lot of other guys who have a lot of questions. That's true. I'm going to say this, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Yeah. And so yes, wherever you are, use the skill you have to push yourself forward. And the last thing I'm going to say is what you're doing right now with Centonomy is proof to me that you are in the right place. You're in the right place, right people. You're working yourself up that ladder. So yes, I know sometimes you'll be nervous. Somebody has mentioned how do you overcome it? Reading financial books, charisma, and all those things you've talked about. Being around the right people, and Centonomy are the right people to be around, is a place to start. You're going places because you've chosen to go places, and this is how you choose. Not a big decision. This is how you choose, by taking your Saturday and spending time with the right people who are going to teach you how things work. I'm grateful to all of you. God bless you all. Happy to help out. You know where to find me. So if you need something from me in some way, shape, or form, happy to support in any way I can. And here's the gift I was telling you. As a gift from Kytabu to Centonomy, all of you guys.
Wow, that was the wrong place for the computer to hang. No, say again, as a gift, because it stopped right there.
And we're going to be right back to that.
It stopped right as you said, here's the gift. And then you're left hanging like this.
The gift?
I was waiting. Say it again.
Oh, like this? Okay.
Yeah.
So the gift we're giving you is going to work with Centonomy to build a mobile app for you guys that you can be able to deploy to all your students so that they can be able to be following through on conversations, on content, and things that you guys need. And we have set ourselves a target of 60 days to put together a mobile app that you guys will be seeing, that Kytabu and Centonomy are going to put together for you, so that you can be able to be watching things like these. We can encourage some of your conversations to become podcasts and videos and vlogs. And as Tonee, me, I'm a guy of my word. When I say we're going to build something with you, we're going to build something with you. So everyone here is going to be seeing a mobile app from Centonomy in the next 60 days, that you can be able to get videos like these from not just me, but from many other guys from around the country and around the world, for you to be able to learn. So with that, thank you for having me. I always come with a bag of gifts because I appreciate guys trying to help young people. So big shout out to all you guys. Have a nice weekend. Take care to all of you people. I'm grateful for your time, and God bless you all.
You guys have no idea what it's like to be around amazing people like this. And that's, Tonee, you're right. Exactly what you said. Get around people who will energize you, who will challenge you, who will build you up. No matter what, even if it's through a screen like this, your life will still change. And at some point, all these guys are wondering about how to meet people. You'll meet them. Don't worry. The opportunity will come. The issue is how you can be able to grow. a big shout out. Thank you so much. God bless Kytabu as well and the amazing work that you're doing. I know that we're going to the whole country, and I know the whole region as well. And it's going to make a huge difference for so many young people. God bless you, bro. Thank you so much.
Cheers, everyone. The name is Tonee. You guys can follow us on social media. My name is just my name. What my name is what it is everywhere. So just Google the name. Happy to follow all you guys when you follow back or whatever. Take care. God bless. Goodbye.
Wow, 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 wow. You guys have no idea. Tonee, if you have some time, if you're still there, make sure you answer some of those other questions in the Q&A section. If not, that's just cool. Wow, as I was saying, this is what we do at Centonomy. We're constantly adding to the knowledge that we have within our sphere. We bring in people like Tonee, and the next speaker was coming up just now, so that you can be able to learn. But listen, guys, listen. He has just spent 40 minutes of his time to share with you. 40 minutes is just the beginning. It was to inspire, to cause you to think differently. We need you to invest your time so that you can be able to grow. The Centonomy Campus Edition is the place to be, because we are starting on 27th of February. It's one class per week for just 6 weeks. Just 6 weeks. You come on one class per week for 6 weeks. And these principles that you're learning here, you begin to implement them and put them down. Can you see the way I've taken that whole strategy down of the Vista strategy? I hope everybody has done that. And I'm just so amazed and grateful for all of you being here. Let's get on to the next part of it. I'll tell you about the rest of it and how you can pay shortly. As you can see on the screen, the beautiful Joy, Doreen, Biira, who is here to share her experiences and growth as she has been. Let me get you on the screen, because I don't think everyone can be able to see her. Just 1 second, stop sharing. There you go. Hi, Joy, how you doing? I think I need you to unmute. Hey, good, there you go.
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Let me tell you, the energy that is in the room, you should see all the questions that have been coming through, and everyone's just waiting to hear from you. I mean, you've had some amazing experiences across the board. I mean, working with various media houses in the Eastern African and global stage as well. You're a media personality. You've seen all your stuff online as well. You can probably do my job better than I am today as a moderator. I know that's part of what you do as
no,
well.
No, I can't.
No, I think you can. We need to talk about that as well. Not only that, but you've worked with international companies like Deutsche Welle, DW, Business Africa, and overall just somebody who's had that integrity throughout their career. And so we're interested in hearing from you about what that experience has been and how you were able to, from where you started to where you are right now, those boss moves that have gotten you into that space. Thank you so much for joining us. It's your time now.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, let me just say it's so difficult to speak after someone like Tonee, because, you know, when they finish by giving you gifts and then you don't know where you're going to start. So, guys, don't expect gifts from me, please. Don't.
No pressure.
And then also, what is it about entrepreneurs where they say, I started with one pancake and then now I own like 12, outlets across the country? We need that magic from the entrepreneurs. So guys, how are you doing? It's so great and such an honor to be speaking here. Is it morning or is it afternoon? Afternoon, East Africa time. The people in Rwanda, I'm sure, are an hour behind. So hello to all you guys. Bonjour in Kigali. My name is Joy. So I want to start by sharing quickly about my career. And today I asked one of my mentors, what is it that you saw in me that made you not give up on me when I had just started out in my career? And the two things he said, very plain and simple, your drive and your focus. So I want us to keep those two things in mind as I take you through my career journey before I start to share with you the nuggets that you will need to grow your career. So I'm gonna take you back. I joined the media industry when I was, I think, 19 going on 20. And how I joined the media industry was a funny story. And I keep telling this story, sometimes it just feels like a joke. But I had a campus course mate. I was doing information technology. So there was a campus coursemate of mine who's like, hey, there's this new TV station that's opened up and I'm going for auditions. I'm the guy who's going to be doing sports. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, so where's this TV station? So he gives me the address. He's like, are you coming? Are you giving me a push? I'm like, I don't think so. I actually don't think TV is my thing. Maybe radio, but not TV. So just leave me, you know? He's like, no. You know, you're just giving me a push. There's nothing, you know? So I go. I'm waiting for him in the hallway and he's gone up to do auditions. I'm waiting for him in the hallway. Someone comes and says, hey, so why don't you go up there and say your name? Because, you just never know. And I'm like, okay, is that how it is? That's how auditions here go? You don't make an application, then you're called and things like that. So they're like, no, just go up there and say your name. And I was looking at the ladies coming from, you know, the audition room, and I'm like, this thing is not meant for me. So I'm like, okay, let me just go there. So he comes back a second time and finds me in the hallway still because I was hesitating. Should I not? He's like, now that you're here, can you just pour me a cup of tea? You know, the reception is right there. I'm like, excuse me, do I look like a tea girl or something? Typical campus language, typical university language. That's just how it was. And then he insisted, he's like, okay, fine. Since you don't want to be a tea girl, go up there and say something. And so I went into the audition room. There were 6 people in the audition room, and the 7th person was a humongous camera that I was seeing for the first time. And then I was told to pick up a microphone and respond to all the questions in there about what I wanted to do. So they're like, what do you want to do? First question comes through. I'm like, honestly speaking, I just came up here because of pressure from someone downstairs whose name I don't even remember. But yeah, here I am. Do you read the news? I'm like, no. Do you read newspapers? Well, I read the sports and business pages, but I don't read the front pages. And they're like, wow, this was like shocking to them. So what would you like to see on TV? So I thought, you know, for a minute there, I thought, because at the time I was an evening student at the university. And I said, you know what? When I'm in university, I don't get to watch the news because the news happens at 8 or 9 p.m. I don't get to watch the news. So I said, I would like to know what's on the news in the morning as opposed to in the evening because I'm in class at that time. Then the other person asked, so what would you like to see on TV? I said, I just want to see what the news is, but also I want to see what people are saying about the news. And I didn't know I was actually saying something that was journalistic, but I didn't know it was journalistic. And I guess to them, I was giving them what looked like content for a morning show. And I didn't know what I was saying, you know? But then they're like, oh, okay, so what else would you like to do? I said, I would like to see people going to the streets and asking them questions about about what they would want to see, you know, done better. If it's bad roads, what are they saying about the bad roads and things, you know? And that's pretty much what got me through an audition without planning to go for one. And then I was asked to pick a piece of paper, write my details and all that. The following day, I was called to bring a CV. Guys, I didn't have a CV. So what did I do? I went to Google. I don't know why up until today, Google doesn't thank me for how many times I have mentioned them when I'm telling my story. So I went to Google and said how to write a CV, how to be a journalist, how to be a presenter, how to communicate, how to literally everything about journalism or about media, about TV, I had to Google. I started with a CV and I'm like, guys, I don't even have experience in anything at all. I had just joined my second year in university. But then I'm like, you know what? Let me ask these evening students who are mostly in their late 20s and maybe early 30s, mid 30s, what they do when they're asked to write a CV. So I went and asked one of my course mates. I said, by the way, I've been asked to write a CV. What do I do here? So he helped me. He's like, so what experience do you have? I'm like, good Lord, I'm a merchandiser. What am I supposed to say? So I said, okay, fine. I will just say I do merchandising. And then I did research, I think in my vacation, my A-level vacation, for those of you who who remember the system. And that's pretty much it. That's what was on my CV, date of birth, place of birth and stuff. And I boldly, confidently took my CV to the programs manager of a TV station. He looked at my CV because I was so afraid. I'm like, who takes a one-page CV? So I had to space it out and be like, space, create a second page. So that's what I did. And yeah, long story short, I get there, hand in my CV, and this person who I told, do I look like a tea girl? I came to learn was the owner of the TV station. And the shock on my face, I don't think I've ever forgiven myself for that. But it's possibly the one thing that made him think, who the hell is this? Excuse my French. But yeah, next thing I know, I'm given a template of a morning show and I'm asked to fill in the details. So I filled in the details and, good morning, welcome, this and that. So they looked at it and they're like, well, we can polish here and there. And yeah, that's how I got onto TV. And I can't even start to tell you how my first day on TV was. It was horrific. I was doing a newspaper review and instead of holding the paper upright, it was upside down. I was so tense. First of all, everything was new. The makeup was new. The outfit was new. I was wearing a suit for the first time. But you know what? There's one thing that I had. I didn't care. I didn't care at that point because it felt like it's something I had been forced to do at the time. And so I did 2-3 days of the show. And the third day, I was doing it with a co-host who had 6 years experience in the media. And so to him, I looked like a joke. It's like, how did she even get her way to this show, But then I'm like, you know what? I said, and I told him plainly, one thing you need to know is I don't know anything about anything. So if you don't teach me, we're going to look bad together. It's not going to be me alone. We're going to look bad together. So, and then I told him, I'm actually willing to learn. So I'm willing to learn. You do whatever you're doing, but just know I'm willing to learn. If you decide to toss me out in the fire, please do it knowing that I said I was willing to learn. So it started there. And after some time, I think I really didn't take it serious until after 2 months, where my boss called me up and said, now you need to get serious. I need you to read every day. I need you to do ABC every day. And he was the very first person who mentored me into who I am today, pretty much. And he's the same person I asked, what is it that you saw in me that made you not give up? And he said, your drive and focus. Honestly, I wasn't focused. Let's not lie. I wasn't focused at the beginning, but the focus grew. And so and the journey began there. It grew from one point to another. And I kept, if there's one thing that I have consistently done over time, it has to be the fact that I have consistently wanted to upgrade my skills. And I think it's important when you are trying to grow your career, it's important for you to consistently upgrade your skills. If you feel you're coming from a different field in your career, wanting to start out something different, because as an Bachelor of Science Information Technology student, I don't think I even had a clue about what journalism or communication or presentation was all about. And so that urge for me to always want to read about it, ask questions, meet journalists, ask them questions, that in itself was one of the key things. So I will start by saying, upgrade your skills. Secondly, take risks, guys, take risks. You just never know where you're gonna be 10 years from today. You just never know. If I hadn't taken the risk to be on TV, and by the way, it didn't even hit me that the TV station was broadcasting outside of the city until the comments started coming in like, oh, who is that? Who is that? And then there was this one very bad article that they wrote about me and said, she is blonde. Why does she have to be on TV? I was 20 years old. At 20 years old, you can easily just shut it down and say, you know what, over and done with, I'm never going to come back. But I said, you know what, they're right. They're right. They're right. So what I need to do is look for that journalist who wrote the article, talk to him, and tell him what exactly he thinks I need to do better. Well, he didn't say blonde in the article per se, but he said she needs more experience. And I agreed with it, but I guess that's the sanitized word of saying blonde, So I looked for the journalist, he was an experienced entertainment journalist who likes to critic everything and anything he sees that's not right. And he told me, so you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other. And then back to my mentor, he said, now from today onwards, I want you to shadow me. He was a member of parliament, by the way. And so I had to shadow him. I had to learn what bills are, what motions are, what all the politics is, everything about everything, how business operates in the government, in the private sector, and everything. So I had like an overload of information that I was working with at the time because I needed it and people were willing to give it to me. So everywhere I went, everyone was willing to help me out because they knew, okay, if she's willing to learn, that's all we need to work with. And that's what I worked with. So I took the risk. And that's the second point I'm making after upgrading your skills. Constantly, consistently upgrading your skills. The second point I'm making is take risks, because risks are the things that you do or the things you've never done, but you're doing them even when you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So take that risk and do whatever it is that it's going to take for you to make sure that it's either going to be a lesson. If it fails, it's going to be a lesson. If it succeeds, it's going to be the thing that you always remember and say, I took the risk, so I can take it again. So take those risks and also grow your social capital. I think for me, from a very young age, from a tender age, and I keep going back to my 20-year-old age, because that's the defining age. If you don't start to take risks from that point on, I don't know if you're going to start taking those risks once you clock 40. I don't know. Some people say life begins at 40. Yes, it does. But take those risks in your 20s so you don't have to have regrets when you get into your 30s and your 40s as well. So grow your social capital. Tonee did mention that your networks has something to do with your networks. Grow your social capital. You just never know how you're going to get to that thing that you've always dreamed of doing or of getting. It starts with your social capital. Who do you know? Why do you know them? How can they help you? How can they get you to where you're meant to be going? So for me, my pool of networks was not just media personalities. It was also the business people, the people who made decisions in companies, in the private sector, the people who made decisions in the government. That pool of networks helped me understand the context and which business was made if I wanted to get something where I needed to go. And that in itself helped me also expand my scope. So I wasn't just a presenter or a journalist trained on the job. I started to grow another skill, which was called strategic communication. My background of information technology was just one tip of the iceberg. So what helped me was the fact that I was in front of a camera. So people thought, at some point, I know people were seeing the growth and they're like, I think she's moving in the right direction, but they didn't know how much pressure there was in the background when you knew that you had to make sure you prove a point. One, because you're female, and so they're comparing you to a male counterpart. And so there's a lot of sexism in between there. And then two, there's just the fact that you're young. You're young, so you don't know anything. So you have to prove to people that your age doesn't actually matter. What matters is what's coming out of your head, guys. What's coming out of your head? Does it make sense? So grow that social capital. If you don't know something, look for the person that knows it and find out exactly what it is and understand it. Don't just hear it. Listen and understand the context. It helps you to grow your career as well. So I started to not just be a presenter or a communicator. I became a strategic communicator bit by bit. Because I did information technology, I was now being called to speak to some members of parliament about how they can maximize their potential using technology to reach out to their constituents. So here I was, I'm like, okay, so now I've dished information technology. Well, not exactly dished it, but trying to balance it out with the media. And now I'm being called to talk to people. So the first time I spoke to members of parliament, it was female members of parliament. And trust me, I thought I was green when I started the media. I was not as green as they were when it came to not knowing anything about technology. So setting up emails, setting up, I don't know what, just giving them the context of how important technology is in helping them reach out to a wider audience, that in itself, it didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of social capital. If that one female member of parliament had not reached out to me and said, hey, I think you can do this, so we're going to pay you this much, come in, talk to us for an hour, and see the reaction. We're going to pay you. It's a partnership between this organization and parliament. So you can do this 1 hour and you're done. I'm like, I think so. So I took a risk. I banked on my social capital and I borrowed an iPad from the media house and I was like, yeah, let's go do this. Let's go do this. So I went and I spoke to them for an hour and it turned out to be the thing that opened me up to something I didn't know I had, which was speaking and also which was strategic communication. So from that point on, I started helping some members of parliament and other business people as well to set up their social platforms and also manage them. And from that point on, it started growing into something that was actually making money for me. So grow that social capital. Fourth thing is mentorship. Mentorship, guys. If you don't have a mentor, I don't care how young or how old you are, I think you need that person you look up to, the person who you look up to and say, this is who I want to be. So I used to look up to people when I was growing up, but of course, some of them are people you can't access. People like Oprah, people like, I don't know, Larry King at the time, Christiana Mampor. And I'm like, the day I ever get to see these people. But sometimes it might take you 10 years or maybe 20 years before you meet this one person you've always looked up to. But what else are you doing to make sure you follow their career? Sometimes we are mentored through following someone first. If I look up to you and I can't access you, but I know that you're on all these social media platforms where I can follow what you're doing, use that. Get that mentorship. If the person is within your reach out to them and say, I actually would like to set up a meeting with you, and I think you can be my mentor. Can I get your contact? Reach out to those people, get that mentorship. If it's going to be email correspondence, don't miss out on it. Get it. It's important. Mentorship is important. I still have my mentors. I have about 6 mentors. One of them I got to meet after I do not know how long. I've always looked up to Julie Gishuru, and I only met her last year. Last year. Yet I've been in this country for God knows how long. I only got to meet her last year. But when I met her, it just felt like this thing is about to explode into something. And actually, we talked about things that ended up creating more work for me. And so it's so important for you to actually know how important mentorship is. It doesn't have to be physical interaction. It can be just that interaction you have via correspondence or just by following the work they do and seeing how they're doing it. And that's how you actually build up some skills. Also, it's important for you to invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. That's my 5th point. Invest in yourself because you only have you. After you, there are so many people who will look up to you or not bother at all. So ask yourself, who are you without the career that you have? Who exactly are you without the thing that everyone knows you for? Who are you? So invest in yourself. If you get a job, you start making the money, what are you doing with it? Are you advancing your skill, getting smarter? Invest in that skill. Today, we have so many short courses that you can do online. Centonomy is giving that to you as well. In fact, I'm even thinking I need a Centonomy startup course. I'm never too old for that, right? Yeah, so I've been thinking about that. But what the point I'm trying to make is invest in yourself. You are only as intelligent as you are today. Tomorrow, there's going to be a 20-year-old who is coming to outsmart you. And so if you do not upgrade that skill, if you do not invest in yourself, invest in your talent, invest in your potential, grow yourself, it's going to be hard, guys. It's going to be hard. And the world is changing. Technology changes. I mean, if today you carried an iPhone, forgive me for using the iPhone, but if you carried an iPhone, iPhone 5 years ago, today, what are you using? You know, in fact, even Apple has decided to slow down the software for the older phones, so you're able to, without fail, upgrade into the next series of phones. So think about that as well, and think about what you knew in the year 2010 is not exactly what it is in 2021. So grow that skill, make yourself relevant, and you can only do that by investing in yourself. Number 6, attitude. Always have a positive attitude. I don't know about people who have negative attitudes who ever make it in life. They never, ever, ever make it in life. So yeah, just always have a positive attitude. If you fail today, do it again tomorrow, do it again the other day. I mean, if I was humiliated in a national paper, like, guys, she has no experience. I was young, I didn't care. But after 25, I was like, okay, it just can't be. 5 years later, you must have been brought up to speed and are now going with what the world is expecting of you. So put in the work yourself. Never have a negative attitude. It's literally going to affect everything that you do. Personal branding. My point number 7 is personal branding. Personal branding is the most important aspect of you, if not one of the most important aspects of you. Personal branding is about reputation and about character. So I just want to say, reputation is what people think of you when you're not in the room. Character is who you are wherever it is that you go. Your beliefs, your principles, that's what make your character. But your reputation is that thing that is going to keep you relevant. Is that thing that's going to keep you relevant. When people are looking for someone to do certain work and then they're asked to come up with a list of names. If your name doesn't pop up among those names, you need to ask some questions, and you're in a specific field. Ask some questions. So I think that personal branding is important. You can grow your personal brand by using the other factors that I have talked about: investing in yourself, get a mentor, grow your social capital, take risks, upgrade your skills. That's how you build your personal brand. And you can read more about it, just like Tonee, who's the previous speaker earlier mentioned, about personal branding. Get to know those people, build trust. Trust is important. Be consistent. Be persistent. That's how you build a personal brand. Number 8, focus and self-drive. Focus and self-drive are important. You writing down the things that you want to be 10 years from today, 5 years from today. It's the mind. I was actually writing, I journal a lot. So I was just writing just how powerful the mind is. The mind is the most powerful tool any human being can actually have, because when your mind thinks of something, it means that it's doable and it's achievable. You now need to transfer that mind setting, that idea, onto a paper and then work towards it, because it builds your character, it builds your reputation, it actually grows you from one level to another. And that's pretty much what career is all about. If you have thought that, okay, now I'm making some money, what business can I invest in? Where can I put my money? And maybe that situation is making you feel like you don't know anything about money, you don't know anything about entrepreneurship. Okay, what's your next step? Maybe Centonomy could help me. Let me go attend a class, do something, ask around, what can I do with my money, invest in stocks, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much what focus and self-drive are all about. You focus, you start in the mind, it starts as an idea, it goes down on paper, and then it's up to you to put in the work. It's up to you to put in the work. And finally, guys, which is going to be my 9th point, is about integrity. Who are you if you do not have integrity? Yeah, I'm in the business of reputation. the media is pretty much about reputation. So if your name comes up, and I don't know, what are the 3 things that people say about you when your name comes up? What do you think they say about you? Is it about, oh, I think she's intelligent, or I think I don't trust that she can actually execute this pretty good? Or is it going to be something like, I think I like her work ethic, you know? So it has to be something. What are the top 3 things people think of you when your name comes up and you're not in the room? What is it that they say? So I think integrity is key. It helps you as well to get more work. If you're an individual who is a sole proprietor of something, it could help you as well. If it is something to do with your reputation, like us in the media, we actually sell reputation. When your reputation is not good, it's very hard for you to be employable, actually, in the media. So you need to think about that. And I think, I don't know, my final thing is going to be that you have a higher power that you believe in. So that higher power needs to be the thing that you always look up to and say, okay, now I think the next phase of my career is going to be this. What do you think about it? It's God for me. So I think that, yeah, there's a lot that comes into play. So 10 things, guys: upgrade your skills, take risks, grow that social capital, get a mentor, get mentorship, invest in yourself, have a positive attitude. It plays a role in your altitude. Grow your personal brand. There's so many platforms that are available right now for you to do that. First of all, if you do not have social media presence, I don't know who you are. So LinkedIn are very good with that. You can actually, if you don't have a LinkedIn account and you want to be a serious career person, I don't know who you are. That's where some people meet their mentors. And also these other platforms as well. Focus and self-drive, integrity, and believe in a higher power. Guys, I'm done.
Keep going.
I'm done.
You should see all the notes that I've taken down over here that I'm trying to follow.
But yes, and for those of you who might be asking, so how old is she? Why does she keep saying a long time ago? I'm 34, guys. I'm 34. So I started my career in the media when I was 20. And it grew from
now?
20, when I was 20 years old. Yep, when I was 20 years old. And so to anyone out there who thinks they're too young to do something serious, no, you're not too young. If there's someone who thinks they're too old to start, you're never too old, never too young to start something. So that's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Wow. Joy. As I said, the number of questions I have here, and these are personal questions, this is for me. I'll get to everybody else's questions, get them coming through on the Q&A section here on Zoom. And if you have any questions for Joy, please type them there in the Q&A. And if you're on Facebook, thank you so much. Edith Nafula on Facebook, she says, invest in yourself. She was just highlighting some of the comments that you were saying. And everyone on YouTube, I noticed a couple of guys who are joining in and saying, "Ooh, I came in a bit late." Don't worry. These videos will be available, as I mentioned, on YouTube and on Facebook. And you can go back and just listen to all the amazing stuff that Joy and Tonee have been saying as well. So here's my question, Joy. You kind of, it seems like you kind of fell into this career. It wasn't a plan, but I know personally that you cannot survive on simply that initial good fortune that you found yourself in. So I'm asking you, what, in your opinion, is it your character that has kept you going, even when it was something that you never thought of yourself getting into?
Attitude. Positive attitude, honestly, that's what I'm going to say. Because when I started out, I was like, let me try this thing. I mean, why are people over pushing me into it? Let me try this thing and see if it works. Well and good. If it doesn't, I can just, maybe I would have been a quarter maybe by now. If I had decided to take my information technology serious and drop the media thing. But thankfully, I was persistent. I was willing to learn. And I had a positive attitude above it all. Anyone could have just dropped out and said, you know what, let me just give up on this thing. I failed many times when it came to communicating and passing on the message. Until I think one of my employers just said, my very first employer said, you know what, I think you need to watch British TV so you can actually understand how these shows are done.
Wow.
So I had to literally, after a show, I would have an extra 2-3 hours to rewatch all the ITV, BBC, and ABC in the United States morning shows for me to get that. And it took me having a positive attitude for me to actually get that right. So it's quite interesting when you ask that question, but what is it that made me stick around in knowing fully well what was going on at the time? I would say it was a positive attitude and just the will to keep it going and make it work. Because I always think that when someone says, you're not good enough, that's when you need to prove to them that I think you can actually do it.
Wow. And you see, the challenges just keep coming. Here's Diana. Diana is asking, when you have a foreign language like Chinese or French or any of these other languages, how do you use that to your advantage as a journalist, especially in media in general? How can you use that for your growth? Doreen, I'm not sure how many languages you speak.
Well, just because I contribute to a German TV doesn't mean I speak German. I don't. I only know possibly the basics, Guten Morgen and things like that. But so I think that it's important. It's an added advantage if you speak more than one language, because it makes it easier for you. Say, if you're going to cover something in a French-speaking country, you do not have to have an interpreter. So you can speak the language fluently. You can offer a service as an interpreter yourself, which is an added advantage in itself. You can contribute on 2 different spaces and be paid differently for those 2 different languages that you speak, which is a plus. So I think if you're a journalist and you speak more than one language, one international language of saying, I think that you have an added advantage, a distinctive advantage, if I might say, because that way you are able to double your pay somehow. So take it from me. It's an added advantage. I'm learning German, so I hope somehow I can be able to use that to make some money.
So Anastasia is taking that a little bit further. She immediately went to your LinkedIn profile and noticed that you do work for Deutsche Welle, and how easy, she's asking how easy was it for you to, for them and for you also to take your character and your African dynamism into that kind of international environment. Was there any difficulty in your integration into an international company like that?
It wasn't actually. For me, when I was at KTN, it was actually somewhere where they had a partnership between the Standard Group and Deutsche Welle for an eco show, which was an environmental show. And so they were looking for people who could do it at the time, because the person who was hosting the show had to move to Berlin. And because this was a partnership, so they looked for someone who could do the job without being paid. Without being paid extra. And so one of my supervisors said, so are you interested in doing this thing? I said, yeah. But for me, it was about the bigger picture. If I do it, it can create a better platform for me and make it easier for me to get onto something. Sometimes it doesn't always start with, so what are your expectations? What are your rates for this? Sometimes you just need to look at the bigger picture. And for me, I looked at the bigger picture because I thought I needed a bigger platform to put out my interest, to tell my stories. And that Eco Africa show was the thing that graduated me into that. And so when they were looking for a correspondent, or I don't want to say correspondent, a contributor to their business desk, they looked through my profile and said, well, I think we can actually use her for some of the stories about business in Africa. So if I hadn't taken up that show from KTN, I would never have popped up in their database. And so that's what made it easy for me to transition as a contributor to Deutsche Welle.
So this is Orion. Well, I guess this must be a name that's there. But Orion is saying, "I'm glad I came across this. Can't imagine missing such valuable information from Tonee and from Joy. So thank you so much for sharing, Joy, as you have. I'm a father of daughters. I have a couple of them. And this question from Wamaida is something that's close to my heart as well. She's asking, how have you dealt with this issue of sexism? And I'm really sad that we still have to ask that question in 2021. But in the office, I'm sure you may have come across it in your lifetime that was there. So how do you deal with that?
So sexism in the workplace is real. There are some things that are being done to make sure that it's curbed.
Yeah.
But I think a lot more needs to be done. Sexism shows up in the form of pay gaps. It shows up in the form of inability or ability to do something. It shows up in the form of people just, making decisions based on your gender.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like that in itself is one of the biggest setbacks for women in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because the thing about sexism is it makes you feel less than.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you deserve less. Yet you actually probably deserve more.
Yeah.
I want to give an example of one of the editors at one of the international media houses. I think it's BBC. She was the editor for BBC China, and she actually had to go to court and say, you know what, because I do nearly twice as much work just by virtue of the fact that I'm based in China, but I'm paid less than the person who is based in a place where, it's so easy to work, which is the UK.
Yeah.
And so she said, why am I being paid less, yet I actually do more?
Yeah.
And she won the case after I don't know how many years of pursuing this.
Yeah.
And it was after that case that the media house in itself decided, okay, we need to look into this thing.
Yep.
Now that is at the international level. Locally, it's the same thing, because when I started my career in Uganda. And my co-host, who I admit had more experience in the media than I did at the start. But I would say that by the time I had done 4 years in the media, I had grown, I had invested in myself, put in the work, put in, everything I needed to do to make sure that I brought myself up to the standard that they expected me to be performing at. But still, there were grave differences. The pay gap was so wide. I felt like if this was a man, I don't know if it would have been the same thing, And it's not just me. It's so many other female personalities who feel that they are paid less. And it's not just about pay. Sometimes it shows up in the form of you're given a task, but they think that because there's this counterpart A who can do it better, you miss out on it. Maybe because you have a family, you have this, you have that, So you have so many responsibilities, you're not going to be able to hack this. So there's that. It's also a bit of sexism. But how I deal with it for me is making sure I work twice as hard to show that I can actually do this better. If I can't do it just as well, I can do it better. And so having to just argue out your case and say, I actually can do it differently too, or can we do it together so you can see what I'm capable of? Because I believe that in certain instances, maybe they tend to consider the male counterpart or favor the male counterpart over certain issues, like investigative journalism. If you have to go into a war zone and you're a lady, you're at risk of so many things, maybe sexual assault, sexual abuse, as opposed to when it's a male investigative journalist going into the same war zone. And so sometimes some women journalists or female journalists think they're being sidelined because of that, but actually it's protecting, quote unquote, protecting who you are. So there are those small instances, but I think that we can do a lot more by giving equal opportunity. But you as a person who faces those issues of sexism, I think you can deal with it by working twice as hard. And also just by doing the work together. If
Yeah.
a task is given to someone X,
Mhm.
and this someone X thinks they can add another person on it, jump on
Yeah.
it and say, can I also be part of it? So
Yeah.
they can see what you're capable of. Because it's from seeing what you're capable of that they are able to advance you to the stage where you can now handle something on your own.
That's
And
right.
that for me is how I deal with it. Yeah.
Wow, Joy, this has been a real pleasure to listen to your story, to listen to what you have to share, and you should see all the comments if you can. If you have a couple of minutes, kindly just go through the comments. Some of the questions are coming through there, and also through the Q&A section here. And also, if you can, on the social media, we'll be trying to post them here. But it's such an honor to have you, because hearing the real story, because we see you on telly, we see you on the screen, and you always look as perfect as you do, and we don't know what got you from where they were to where you are right now, and that story is really important. I hope everybody has been taking some of those points down, as I did. I took all the notes, the 10 points that you shared with us. It's really, really great to have you here. Such a pleasure. If you can just hang around and answer some of those questions, as I tell
I'm
guys.
going to hang around, actually. I'm going to hang around and answer all the questions.
Excellent. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Joy. Doreen, Biira. You know her from every television screen here in East Africa. Those who don't know, she is one of those who has led the way as far as journalism in this area is concerned. We are so grateful for your time and honesty. So guys, at Centonomy, we love to have discussions like this, because it is from people's experiences that we learn. We train, as I mentioned, guys, we train people from teenage all the way to retirement. And for the guys in retirement, one of the things that always comes up, please, so take this to heart, everybody in this room, they always come and say, I wish I knew this when I was young. I wish I had these principles. I wish I had started saving earlier. I wish I'd started investing earlier, not just investing cash, but as you've been hearing from Joy, from Tonee, I've been investing my time in myself to learn, because the one resource that you had Tonee mentioning that you guys have, that some of us are losing, as you can see, as your hair disappears, you start realizing that resource disappears, is time. And time is money. So I wanted to tell you guys how you can begin to learn and to grow when it comes to your plan here at Centonomy, and it really matters. Guys, let me just put this up on the screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. The Centonomy Campus Edition is designed to help you across the board, to give you a breadth of knowledge in your personal financial management, in your investment, in your career growth, and your potential entrepreneurship, because we realize as a campus student, the world is really open and there are all these various different ideas. I love that Tonee said, yeah, get the knowledge and then at some point you pick one. But you need the knowledge even in that one to be able to set up correctly and to be able to grow a business. It's important to be able to set up your career so that you can grow, as you've heard from Joy as well. So in the program, we talk about saving and investment, and it's not just as just the simple thing that you hear from your parents, save and invest. It's the strategic plan, like you heard from Tonee, on how to invest. It's to say, what is it that I want? I want to live in $1 million house by the time I'm 40. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do this, start this kind of business in the next 5 years. What are those things? And then we work backwards. So we start about understanding which is the right place to invest. So if you're saving, please don't just save. You have to do both saving and investing. Saving and investing are not the same thing, because saving is simply putting aside cash for an emergency. And I know many of you have started that journey of saving. I know you're putting aside some money. That's great, wonderful, but it's not enough. We need you to be investing, because in investment is where the money grows and multiplies. And it's so important to understand, okay, great, a savings account will do this for me, but where can I put my money for investment? Can I go to the stock market? Can I be able to start a business? What are bonds? What is this real estate thing? You need so much capital. How do I, as a young person, get involved in that? And we discussed that in the Centonomy Campus Edition session. So what are the different types of investments? And then this is a powerful thing that we do here in Africa. We have investment groups. Here in Kenya, we call them chamas. And how is it that we can pool our money in order for us to grow? These are the kind of questions and ideas that we deal with in the Centonomy Campus Edition. We also have this idea, because you want that fully rounded environment so that it gets you into the right mindset. Even if you're not going to start a business, let me tell you this, as someone who's running a business right now called Centonomy, the people in my team have to have an entrepreneurial spirit. Why? Because if we at the leadership are the only ones coming up with ideas, we can't grow. And I just love my team for that. Everyone in this room who's here, who's brought their expertise. Esther, who heads our campus edition. We've got Tessie as well, who brings all the social media element. Each one of these people brings their knowledge and their entrepreneurial spirit, problem-solving spirit, to make our business greater. So if you can begin to think like an entrepreneur, it will also help you in your career development. So here's the thing. We start off by evaluating your non-financial assets. What's that? Like you had Joy. Joy had non-financial assets. You had a confidence. If you heard that, that guy must have been shocked that this young lady was able to respond to me like that. She didn't just giggle and kind of go away. No, she stepped up in front of him and said, no, do I look like a T-girl to you? And knowing herself, knowing that presence that she had is a non-financial asset which she has used until this day. So we begin by assessing what are your non-financial assets so that you can use those to think about the areas of business that you're going to get into. We begin to talk about that abundance mindset, overcoming fear, looking at what is coming out of this same space, and then to see business opportunities. Listen to me, not every idea that you have is a business opportunity, and that's one of the big mistakes that we have. Just because somebody is willing to buy something from you does not mean that it is a business. And it is this, running a business is a skill set that you're going to begin to learn in the Centonomy Campus Edition. And that's why we're encouraging you to register today so that you don't waste time. Don't be like those old guys who are coming for a retirement class and saying, oh my goodness, I wish I knew this when I was your age. Learn it now so that you can begin to grow. And we leave you with a tool, an amazing tool called the Business Model Canvas that allows you to put your business idea on one sheet and be able to communicate effectively so that you can raise the capital that we're having, especially the ideas around capital that we discussed with Tonee earlier on. I'm really, really appreciating your time that you've been able to give us this. Personal financial management, as we talked about before, how do you manage your expenses, creating your budget, spending plan, assets versus liabilities, things that you need to know that are really important. I want to show you something, guys, that most people have never seen before. And I hope that you're going to be able to pay attention to this. Many of us in life are going to take debt. We're going to borrow in order to achieve our goals. And so one of the main things, I know you guys, I know one of the main things that you're going to take a loan for, because look, all of us have at some point, is to buy a car, for instance. And many times we come into such an interaction, into a financial choice like this of purchasing a vehicle or purchasing your home, and we think about using debt along the way. And the problem is, because no one has ever taught us this or shown us this, we make poor decisions and then we wonder, why is it that we have found ourselves in a situation like this? So I want to give you an example of the kind of tools that we use in the class. This is called a loan amortization schedule. It just shows you how much it costs to borrow, okay? So let me put it on the screen so you can begin to see. So this is how practical we get with the class at Centonomy. So watch this. So if you borrow 1.5 million shillings to buy a car, hey guys, I want to see in the chat box, if I borrowed 1.5 million, what kind of car is that we're getting for 1.5 million shillings? In dollars, that's about $15,000. So you can do the calculation forever you are in the world. What kind of car are we getting? Come on, guys. I know you've been looking at all these websites, Kinacheki, and even on Facebook, people are selling cars. 1.5 M, what car are we getting? Like a Noah. Thank you so much, Angela. It's a Toyota Noah that you're going to be driving around. And so you borrow 1.5. Hey, Joel, now you're bringing in the true, hey, Megan is now at a Mark X. Excellent. So now you have an idea of the type of car that you're buying at that level. Hey, an X1, possibly an older one. Yeah. A Mercedes, an older one, possibly. So you're talking not 7 years, but more than 7 years. Toyota Premio, that's about correct. Thanks so much, guys. I can see that you're still alert. So if I borrow 1.5 million here, yeah, at 15%, which some of the banks are offering now for 5 years to buy a car, watch what happens. Look at this. Every month, I'll be expected to pay back 35,000 shillings 684 for 60 months, and I will pay interest alone of 641,000 shillings in total. So guys, I want you to do some quick maths. I want to make sure that you can see the cost of the borrowing that you're doing there. So I borrowed 1.5 and I'm going to pay interest alone. Can you see the number for interest over here alone? 641,000 shillings. So how much did I pay for this Mark X, Toyota Premio, an older Merc, an older BMW, the Avensis that Joel was talking about, or the Noah? How much have I actually paid? Type in the chat box really quick. I want to see if you're able to see the cost. Real quick. I borrowed 1.5, but I'll pay interest of 641,000 shillings. How much is that, guys? How much have I paid for this car? Hey, I knew at least 2 people in the room were paying attention. So we get this practical in the class. Watch this. That means overall, I'll pay 2.14 million shillings for a car that when I bought it was worth how much? 1.5 million shillings. So I paid more than what it was worth when I bought it. Now watch this. 5 years later, I've paid the whole loan. I now own the car. How much is that car worth now? 5 years later, because it took me 5 years to pay off this loan. How much is it worth then? Come on, guys, quick. I want to see whether you know what happens to car. Hey, Joshua. Essentially, I like Anastasia's response. She said less than 1 million shillings. So my question to you guys, is your car an asset? These are the kind of questions that we need to begin to understand. Now, listen. Even those terms that I'm beginning to see, no, people are saying it's a liability. No, your car is not the liability. The loan you took to buy that car is the liability. The car has value, but here's the thing. The value you consume, that value, you can never get it back. You lose value over time. And these are the kind of discussions that we have. Now, watch this. Watch this, guys. I want to give you an idea around this. Any one of you guys know how much it costs to get like these smaller cars, like the Suzuki Altos? I think I've seen a Mazda. What is it called? A Mazda something. What is it called? The smaller cars, Mark 1 or something. All these really small cars that are used for taxis. Joshua, you're there. About 450K if you're getting like the tiny ones, like for an Uber chap. Now watch this. If it costs about 450K, you can afford this loan of 1.5 to pay 35,000 shillings per month. How many of those Uber chap-chaps can you get for 1.5 million? I just want you to begin to think. How many could you get? About 3. Thank you so much. Excellent. So guys are in class now. Wonderful. Do you guys know how much an Uber, when it's not Corona times? Now, COVID has really changed everything. But let me tell you, it will come to an end by the grace of God. Imagine that if this is pre-COVID or post-COVID, okay? And you're having 3 cars on the road. Each one of them, for instance, if you bought a taxi, each one of them on average, from what I knew, was bringing home about 1,000 bob per day for the owner. This is after you've paid your cost, after you've paid your drivers, about 1,000 bob per day for 6 days a week. So that's 3,000 because you have 3 cars on the road times 6. How much is that? I'm just waiting to see if guys are with me. 6 times 3, how much, guys? Thank you. 18,000 shillings per week. Multiply by 4 weeks, guys. 4 weeks. Because now 4 weeks in a month. Great. Now, if you did this and you purchased this and you have taken this loan, not only will the cars be able to repay that loan for you right there, but it will also put some cash in your pocket. Now, the person who you see, in fact, if you see them driving around in a small Uber and you think this person is poor because he's parking next to that Premio or that Noah, whichever it is, you never know who is wealthier than the other. Remember, Tonee was talking about, it's not about showing other people what you have. You guys have no idea when people are next to you, what they're worth. You try and assess them by looking at what kind of car they're driving, what kind of watch, what kind of phone they have. Let me tell you, this is a very simple problem of the middle class in Africa. We're trying to show that we have more than what we have. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a nice car. I'm not saying don't buy a nice phone. I'm saying make it part of your plan. not so that other people can care about what you're talking about, but it's actually part of your financial plan. And that's what we try and teach with the Centonomy Campus Edition, so that you set yourself up now. The money that you make from the business plans that you have, the money that you make from the career development that you're going to go through will just help you along the way. In the career planning, we begin to talk about how do you, the first job tips, how do you begin to grow in that job? How do you prepare your CV so that unlike Joy, you're a bit better off when you're starting off? And what are employers really looking for? Because right now, there's so many CVs. In Kenya, we graduate about 50,000 students from university. We only produce less than half of that in terms of the kind of jobs that they can get. So there's a lot of competition. What will help you stand out? And then the career planning for financial growth, we're using things like social capital to help you build along the way. That's what the Centonomy Campus Edition is really about. And it's just one class per week for the next, for about 6 weeks. And this is how it goes. Once a week for 6 weeks, and it's online in a platform like this that you can begin your journey towards wealth creation. You only register today with 1,000 bob. That registration gets you ready because we're starting on the 27th of February. Only 1,000 shillings, and then the tuition fee is 14,300, but you can pay that in weekly installments. As you can see there, 5,000, 5,000, 4,300. And the M-Pesa pay bill is there on the screen, 986850. I encourage you to register today. You can even start paying now so that you get ahead of that payment. We are very flexible on that so that we make sure as many young people as possible can get the information that you need. So the M-Pesa pay bill is 986850. You're registering with only 1,000 bob. So the account number will be your first name, and then write the word campus after it so that we can identify which program you'd like to do with us. The good thing about the campus edition is it's short, it's affordable, and it is holistic, because many times I remember as a young person in campus, I was not sure, is it business, is it career, what is it? And when you have a holistic view, it'll help you to narrow down to the thing that matters to you. I loved what Tonee mentioned earlier, and that's kind of what we try and do through the campus edition. When you write all the wonderful things that you want to achieve in your life, write it down. And then you look at them, you begin to see which one really attracts you, and you can start working down on that path. Before you've done that, it's very difficult to see actually what is in front of you and the kind of decisions that you need to make. So I'm really encouraging you to be able to register. If you're outside of Kenya, don't worry, we have some help coming your way. If you're outside of Kenya, kindly just reach out to Esther@centonomy.com. She'll give you a good breakdown of how you can make your payments from wherever you are in the world. And that's going to be great. I'm seeing a couple of questions coming through, so I want to make sure I get there. Most people strive to look rich. Yeah, that's right. Then actually being rich, that is true. Although looking rich is not bad. Hey, please, if you ever see me driving a nice car, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I like nice cars, but I like them for myself, not to show you guys. I like them because I like them. My wife is not the same. She's just like, if it's a nice color, she's happy. So these are the kind of things that you need to do. The last day for enrollment, look, make the choice now, Wamaida. Don't wait till the last day. I want you to make that choice now. Make the registration at least so that 1,000 is paid, and then you can be able to work for it. But if you need any assistance in terms of that kind of question, do reach out to Esther@centonomy.com. Just send her an email and say, hey, Esther, I really want to get into this. When can I make my payment? She'll assist you with that. What if I only want to attend one of the classes? Unfortunately, look, we have a holistic view. We've realized that all these elements are interlocked, and it is difficult to separate them. We want you to come out with a holistic view so that you're able to build on that knowledge. As a young person, this is Aina who's saying this, Ainea who's saying this. I honestly believe that it's not just about picking just the small things that you like. That holistic view, that experience of life is what gets you across the board. So if you listen to both Tonee and Joy, they were speaking about a lifetime of experience that has those encounters that they had with different people, the opportunities that they had with different people got them to that place. So we do this as a holistic view. And remember, guys, this is a great time to be doing the program because due to COVID, we have a 10% lockdown discount. So this is really some good discounted rates that are there. I love that question, Wamaida, about does it cover taxes? Not in a lot of detail. However, the principle of tax is covered. The thing about this is this. Listen, everybody in this room, we do not at Centonomy want you to become an accountant or a tax expert. No, we want you to have the knowledge to engage your accountant properly and ask the right questions. We want you to engage that tax expert properly so that they answer the questions that you need. We need people in these industries, but as an entrepreneur or as somebody building the career, you need to have that holistic view so that you can engage with knowledge those who are around you. Okay. So as I mentioned, those are the things that are on the screen. We want you to register today. You're setting off on your journey of wealth creation. Please, this is for people between age 17 and 24. We really believe that that holistic view will get you ready once you leave. Only one class per week for 6 Saturdays. We do it at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. East African time. All right. That's 7 a.m. West African time or 8 a.m. SAST. So you can prepare yourself for that. Classes begin on the 27th of February 2021. And once you've completed the program, you receive a certificate, which proves that you've gone through all of this. We do a lot of work afterwards on mentorship with sessions like this, because people are talking about what's the follow-up like, especially for our campus edition students. These kind of mentorship sessions where we bring amazing speakers like Tonee and Joy, and not so much in a short a format like we have right now, but a bit longer so that you can ask the questions, hear what the experience has been. That's the kind of mentorship that we like to do this. Yes, Joshua, you can go to our website in case anyone wants to find out more information about what we do, centonomy.com. You'll get a lot of information there about the programs in detail as to what's going on. We're really encouraging you. This is the time to register so that you can get that. Remember that we've been talking about this. My apologies. I was getting through this and I didn't even notice. You guys have a gift from us here at Centonomy. You only have to register with 500 shillings today. My apologies to my team, because I was so excited about what we were talking about here. I forgot about this. My apologies. It's only 500 bob because you showed up today. So remember, just like Tonee, we have a special gift for you because you gave us your time for this day. It's only 500 bob today. After this, you'll register at 1,000, and then you can pay the installments as are there. As you can see, the 10% lockdown discount brings it down only to 15,300. So as I mentioned just now, you register today with only 500 shillings, which is about $5 USD. And if you need help on how to pay from outside of Nairobi, outside of Kenya, we can assist you. You'll just reach out to Esther at centonomy.com and she'll give you all the details that you need. The M-Pesa pay bill, as I said, is there, 986850. And the account number is your first name and campus edition. Guys, this is the time to do it. Let's get registered today. Email Esther in case you're not sure about, hey, maybe I want to do it by tomorrow. No problem. She'll be able to assist you. This is a great time to do that. Any other questions that I may have missed to my team? Sorry about that, guys. 500 shillings, only $5 to register today because you guys gave us your time. We want to give something back to you. Very good. Yes, we continuously do this program, but you can find out more about that later. But I want you to make that decision now. Time is of the essence in life. Learn as early as possible and make that registration today. Only 500 shillings to register today because you gave us your time to come for this event. And then the payments for the installments later as you go through the program. I'm just looking to make sure that I haven't missed. In career planning, is it advisable to just choose any career that is available after graduating, or can you wait for a dream job that you're passionate about? Let me give you my personal experience. Get involved. The thing about career planning right now is that statistics from the globe has shown that in the world, most people are going to have more than one career, not even a job, but more than one career in their lifetime. If you listen to Joy, she talked about being in the media, but then now she's doing strategy. Those are different career paths. And one of the things that you're going to do is that you learn what skills are transferable across all job areas. And that's what's going to help you to be able to make such a decision. So many times just getting started, getting to a job, obviously you want to look for a job that you're passionate about, but any job, and begin to understand how do you interact with other people, how do you build the social capital we're talking about, how do you get into that same space so that when you do eventually land the dream job, you have the skill set to manage it. And those skill sets include presentation skills, communication skills, being able to build that social capital. It's about being able to write reports and be able to get the information across to as many people as possible. And that's what we train, especially around the career development area. If there are any questions I have missed, let me try and see if I can get them right now. During the exposure, it's really about understanding your skill set. This is entrepreneurship, your non-financial skill set, and how money works in business. This is a massive area that all entrepreneurs must begin to get as early as possible. As we said, this session is going to be available on our social media, on YouTube and on Facebook, I think Twitter as well. But YouTube and Facebook, I know for sure. And I encourage you, if you came in late, just go back, rewind, and go and see what you missed out on. If you have any friends, share it with them as well. We've loved having you here at the Centonomy Campus Edition Cross Campus Hangout, where we were talking about boss moves. And this is amazing that you have given us your time. If you took down notes, your life will not be the same. And that's going to be great. Just Google Centonomy, or when you're on YouTube, just type in Centonomy and you'll find us there. On Facebook, type in Centonomy, you'll find us again in that same space. We are really grateful for the time that you have given us. We pray that you have a good weekend. Have a wonderful day. For those who are international students and you're thinking about joining us, there's a method that you can be able to go through. You can use this for now. But if you have any other questions, do reach out to esther@centonomy.com. She'll assist you with that registration process. This is for anyone who's outside of Kenya. You can use these details that are on the screen. And don't worry, as I said, in case you're having a hard time trying to write them down, you can always go to our website. You can go to YouTube or our Facebook, and you'll find these details there to assist you. And the simplest way is to reach out to esther@centonomy.com. Esther will give you the information that you need. We want to help you build wealth and live abundantly. It's been amazing, guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.